If you're moving to New York City, like, enjoy it for what it is.
Don't
New
try
York
to change
City
it.
is the most incredible place in the world. And so why would you move to New York and be like, just want everything to feel comfortable like how I've always known? Like, would you go to Paris and go to McDonald's?
People do.
I know, I wouldn't.
But those are the same people that are moving to New York.
I've watched a lot of your videos, right? And you're saying, if you move from Ohio, don't move to New York and try and turn it into Ohio. But like,
Yeah.
I like don't really think that I see that happening. What I see happening is just this like flattening of culture, so that everywhere around the world becomes exactly the same thing. And it's
What do you think the Midwest is? What do you think Ohio is? Ohio is a flat.
I have never been to Ohio.
The Midwest of America is.
I've never been to the Midwest.
It's the flattening of culture. You are, in my mind, one of the model transplants. And I think that's because in not no offense, but I think
like being a model minority.
Give me a minute.
there's an old batch of transplants and there's a new batch of transplants. You definitely come from that old guard of transplants. What do you think is the difference between when you moved to New York and versus people moving now? Because I'll say that somebody commented on my page, the word transplant didn't exist until these new batch of transplants. And I think that's very true.
Well, I definitely, I relate to a lot of the things that you talk about, where it's like, whether somebody's like the weird art school kid who moves to New York, the skater, I was running away from something, right? Like, so I came from a culture where it was very much all about like, don't ever think you're better than anybody else. Don't ever think that you can be anything bigger than like what is expected of you. Big personalities are not really celebrated in New Zealand.
Interesting.
And so people always told me my entire life, you're too enthusiastic, too loud, over the top. And then I came to New York City and I was like, I'm just like average.
Everybody else.
I'm not big at all. Like, I'm just like normal in New York. And so when I first arrived in New York, I was like, holy shit, this is the first place I've ever felt I could be myself without worrying about anything. And that was such a relief to me. For the first time in my life, I felt relief when I've lived in a city. New York City is an intimidating place to move to, right? And so it makes sense to me, and I did the same thing, that when you first get there, you're going to want to spend the majority of your time with people that you know, right? So most of the people that you know, like for me, it was New Zealanders and Australians. Those were the people that I knew when I moved to New York City, right? If somebody went to Ohio State University, everybody says Ohio. I've never been to Ohio. I've got no beef with Ohio. So like, if you went to college with people, you're probably most likely to spend time with those people that you went to college with, right? But if at the end of your first year, you're still only hanging out with the people that you only knew when you first got to the city, you're doing something wrong.
You're not expanding. You're not putting yourself out there enough.
And for me to make the decision that like New York was going to be the place that I spent my life, I got a green card. I became an American citizen last year. I had to branch out from the New Zealanders. And what I saw specifically with New Zealanders is they move together, they live together, they hang out together, and then they go back right?
New Zealand,
But I wanted to stay. So I had to start dating Americans. I had to start working with Americans. I had to start hanging out with people who were born and raised in the city. And the more I did that, the more I had this incredible experience where I wasn't just hanging out with other people who are exactly the same age, exactly the same social demographic, exactly the same color as me, whatever. I started to meet people from all countries around the world, all different ethnicities, all age groups, all socioeconomic backgrounds. And I got an actual taste of what the New York City like culture is. And that is what made me fall in love with the city and decide that I wanted to make it my forever home.
New York gives you access to the world in the city that nowhere else can.
It helps to try to get like connected to some form of like subculture, right? And the things that I was obsessed with were, I was obsessed with nightlife, right? So like I just wanted to be wherever the party was. And I was not interested in being in some like party where everybody looked the same as me. When I moved to New York, one of the great things about nightlife was that, yes, you had these like rich douchebags who were buying tables, right? But then you had these like amazing model girls from all over the world. You had these incredible like cool young skaters who were there because they like added like a vibe to the room. You had like the weird art school kids. But
don't you see that dying down?
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. Now you have the SantaCon people. You have the finance people, and you have all these members clubs where rich people are just segregating themselves away from
said
everybody.
to Isaac yesterday that if we were the people that enjoyed SantaCon, our lives would be way easier than being these people, which I do agree with.
This is, and I really believe this, right? Because if you are a person who can go to SantaCon and just be like dressed as an elf and run down the street and be like, I'm having the best time of my life, you must have more fun than everybody else because you're not sitting there constantly judging everything, being like, is this cool? Am I cool?
Word of advice, guys, be more like Isaac.
Oh, I don't know, maybe you should be more like me. But I do think that, like, if you're moving to New York City, like, enjoy it for what it is.
Don't